war was initiated by Egypt and Syria to reclaim territories lost to Israel during the Six-Day War in 1967. Egypt's primary goal was to regain the Sinai Peninsula, which had been under Israeli occupation since 1967-12. In preparation for the war, Egypt undertook extensive military planning and training. Under the leadership of President Anwar Sadat, the Egyptian army developed a detailed strategy to surprise Israeli forces. This included crossing the Suez Canal and breaching the heavily fortified Bar Lev Line, which Israel had considered impregnable. The Egyptian forces used innovative tactics, such as water cannons, to break through the sound barriers of the Bar Lev Line, demonstrating remarkable ingenuity and bravery. The success of the Egyptian army in the initial stages of the war was a testament to the courage and determination of the Egyptian soldiers. They managed to raise the Egyptian flag on the eastern bank of the Suez Canal, symbolizing the reclaiming of their land. This victory not only boosted Egyptian morale, but also reshaped the geopolitical landscape of the Middle East. The bravery and sacrifices of the Egyptian soldiers were pivotal in this historic event. Their determination to reclaim their homeland and expel the Israeli forces from Egyptian territory showcased their unwavering patriotism and valor. The October 6th victory remains a proud moment in Egyptian history, commemorated for its strategic brilliance and the heroism of the Egyptian military. The results of the October 1973 war were numerous and influential at the military and political levels. After Egyptian forces succeeded in crossing the Suez Canal and destroying the Bar Lev Line, ceasefire negotiations began under significant international pressure, especially from the United States and the Soviet Union. On the 22nd of October 1973, the United Nations Security Council adopted Resolution 338, which called for an immediate ceasefire and the commencement of peace negotiations. Despite this, the clashes continued for several more days, prompting the UN to issue additional resolutions to confirm the ceasefire. This war led to a major change in international relations in the Middle East. Egypt and Israel began US-brokered peace negotiations, which eventually resulted in the signing of the Camp David Accords in 1978 and the Egyptian-Israeli Peace Treaty in 1991. This treaty was the first peace agreement between Israel and an Arab state, opening the door to further negotiations between Israel and other Arab states. On the Islamic front, the war was also known as the War of Ramadan, as it began in the holy month of Ramadan. This added a religious and spiritual dimension to the conflict. Egyptian and Syrian soldiers felt they were fighting a holy war to regain their occupied lands too. The courage and sacrifices of Egyptian soldiers in this war were highly admired and appreciated. They were able to achieve significant military achievements in difficult circumstances, which contributed to raising the morale of the Egyptian people and strengthening Egypt's position on the international stage. Israel's direct losses as a result of the October 6, 1973 war were as follows. Dead. Estimates ranged between 2,500 and 2,800 dead. Wounded, about 7,250 wounded. Military losses. Tanks, about 400 tanks were destroyed. Aircraft, Israel lost between 102 and 114 warplanes. Helicopters, about 25 helicopters were destroyed. Economic losses. Financial cost. Direct economic losses amounted to about $5 billion. Prisoners. About 300 Israeli soldiers were captured. These figures may vary slightly depending on the different sources, but they give a general idea of the extent of the losses Israel has suffered during this war. One of the funny things was that when the prisoner exchange took place, the Israeli prisoners wore pajamas made in Egypt from Egyptian cotton in the city of Mahala al-Kubra. In addition to the direct losses suffered by Israel during the 1973 war, There were also indirect losses that affected the country on several levels. Economic losses. Financial costs. The war led to a significant increase in military spending, affecting the Israeli economy in general. Inflation. Inflation rates have risen as a result of large military spending. Debt. Israel's external debt increased due to the need to finance the war and rebuild the army. Social and psychological impact. Psychological trauma. The war caused great psychological trauma to Israeli society, as it was the first war in which Israel witnessed significant losses since its founding. Trust in the army, confidence in the IDF, and in the military and political leadership declined as a result of initial surprise and defeats. Political influence. Political changes. The war led to internal political changes, including the resignation of some military and political leaders. International relations. Israel's international relations have been affected, as international pressure has increased on it to reach peaceful solutions with Arab countries. This was a small overview of the 1973 War of the 6th of October, where we cannot list those wonderful heroics that Egypt's heroic soldiers wrote with sweat and blood to restore the Israelis. At the end of the video, we thank the viewer for following and we hope that you subscribe to the channel to reach you all new.